when Matthew adopts the idea that Jesus was born to a virgin, and we have an infancy narrative in Matthew 1 and 2, what he does by claiming that Jesus was born to a virgin disqualifies him completely from being the Messiah. Because in order to be the Messiah, you have to come from the house of David. Your genealogy is identified by your father's house. Numbers chapter 1. Really all over the place. That's why in the genealogy it's men that matter, even in the genealogy found in both Matthew 1 and Luke 3. Your tribe identity is passed on in a patrilineal column. Mothers don't matter in this regard. So by claiming that Jesus lacked a human Jewish father, it raises staggering problems. Number one, he can't trace his genealogy back to King David. Can't, because the genealogy that we are served up in Matthew chapter 1, essentially the first 16 verses of the book of Matthew, is the genealogy of Joseph, not the genealogy of Jesus.
Before we jump into Islam, we did have this from two Messianic Jews.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. Yeah.
And I'm saying because these are two guys that I know who started up a channel. So guys, check out this channel. We should do something together, guys. Maybe a live stream or something like that on your favorite topic. So
wait, so they're really two Messianic Jews? I thought it was just like a catchy name.
No, it's two guys. I met these guys down in Georgia.
Okay, that's the next name I like.
No, these are guys. Look, there's Michael Brown, and then there's not really a number two after Michael Brown, right? So these guys are going to move into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So two Messianic Jews say, how would you respond to the Jewish objection? Since Joseph is not Jesus' biological father, he cannot be the Messiah, son of David. Love your channel, David. Thank you for all you do. Okay. So, Sam, looks like you're ready to jump on this one. Since Joseph is not Jesus' biological father, he can't be the Messiah. Before Sam responds to this, guys, are you understanding the objection here? The Messiah is supposed to be the son of David, But if he's not the biological son of Joseph, through whose lineage this is being traced, then he's not the son of David. So what do you say here, Sam? Are you ready to renounce Christianity?
I'm about to become an Orthodox Jew. L'chaim! Anyway, but I'm going to give my 2 cents worth and let Tony come in and complete the thought. Okay, number one, it is not always the case that descendancy is determined by your father, because there are exceptions to that even in the Hebrew Bible. And I'm going to give you the clearest exception to that. Can you put up the verses, or do you need me to read it? It's 1 Chronicles.
Just go ahead and read
chapter 2. Okay, 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verses 34, 36. Let me repeat that again. You'll find in the Holy Bible itself, when I say Holy Bible, the Hebrew Scriptures, because to us it's Old and New Testaments. But in the Hebrew Bible, you will find where when a person does not have a male heir to continue his line, his daughters continue the line for him. And ironically, this refers to a person from the tribe of Judah, the same tribe where Jesus descends from. And 1 Chronicles 2, 34 to 36. Now Shishan, guys pay attention, Shishan is a Judahite. He's from the tribe of Judah. This is the line of Judah. Now Shishan, 1 Chronicles 2, 34, 36, had no sons, only daughters. But Shishan had an Egyptian slave whose name was Jarha, Egyptian. So not even someone from another tribe of Israel. Egyptian, right? So Shishan gave his daughter in marriage to Jarha, his slave, and she bore him Attai. Attai fathered Nathan, and Nathan fathered Zabad. Did you guys catch it? His Egyptian slave married his daughter, had a son, and that son continued his line for him. Attai continued the line of his maternal grandfather, even though his father was Egyptian. I mean, man, talk about God inspiring an example, because Shishan could have married his daughter to another Israelite. Instead, his Egyptian slave. So here you find the exception. If a man has no male heirs, then his daughter will continue the line for him. And as far as we know from the New Testament and even earliest tradition, as far back as you go, the tradition has been that Mary's parents had no sons. Now, she did have a sister. We know that because in John 19:25, what you have there is that it says Jesus' mother was at the cross and his mother's sister. So we know Jesus had a maternal aunt, but as far as all of our earliest extant sources are concerned, Mary had no brothers. So that means Jesus' maternal grandparents only had daughters. So that's number one. Number two, if Isaiah 7:14 is generally a prophecy of the Messiah, as we've argued, then that means already in the Old Testament, God has inspired Isaiah to proclaim that this virgin-born son is a descendant of David. Why? Because he sits on David's throne. Now, the only way he could sit on David's throne and be born of a virgin is if his mother is giving him his connection, his lineage to David, meaning that he's tracing his lineage to David through his mother's side. And there you go, Tony. What say you, Tony T?
Yeah. So let me just point out that there are two genealogies of Jesus in the New Testament. There's the genealogy in Matthew 1, and there's a genealogy in Luke 3. So in Matthew 1, you find a genealogy beginning with Abraham, and it goes through a set of 14 generations. And the reason for 14 has been speculated because the name David, if you look at the name David, the value of David's name is Daleth Vav. Daleth is the number 14. So Daleth is 4, Vav is 6, and another 4, that's 14. That's why Matthew breaks it into 14 generations, 14 generations. He's connecting the Messiah to David here. Now, here's the problem. In Matthew's genealogy, you have Joseph. It goes down to Joseph, who's the husband of Mary. And in that genealogy, you will notice there's a reference there to a king called Jeconiah, or the short form is Coniah. And in Jeremiah's prophecy, in Jeremiah 22, 29 to 30, it says, O land, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, write this man, that's Jeconiah, down as childless, a man who shall not succeed in his days, for none of his offspring shall succeed in sitting on the throne of David and ruling again in Judah. So no son of Jeconiah is to sit on the throne of David. Now, if you follow the genealogy, Joseph is a son of Jeconiah. Joseph is descended from Jeconiah, which means that if Jesus was the biological son of Joseph, he cannot be the Messiah because the curse of Jeconiah would flow through his veins. That's why Matthew tells us in verse 18, because he expects his Jewish readers to know about the curse. He says, now let me explain how Jesus' conception came about. It wasn't through Joseph, because if it was, it would delegitimize him as the Messiah. Now you go to Luke 3, and again, the early church fathers, people like Julius Africanus and many others, believed that what Matthew was giving us was Joseph's genealogy. Now you go to Luke 3, Luke is focused on Mary. Mary is the one who hears the angel's word. She's the one who ponders these things in her heart. You have the Magnificat, that beautiful praise song of Mary. And in Luke 3, you will notice it speaks of Jesus being about 30 years old, verse 23 of Luke 3. And then it says he was supposed, they thought he was the son of Joseph. And then if you look at the genealogy in Luke, it's very interesting. It's very different than the genealogy in Matthew. Because while they both go back to David, you will notice in Luke's account that Joseph is said to be the son of Heli, whereas in Matthew's account, he's called the son of Jacob. Now, what's going on here? Well, the famous Jewish Messianic Jew, Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum, has argued that in Jewish genealogies, when you wanted to show the woman's genealogy, you would use the husband's name. Yep. But what you would do is, when you write out the genealogy, you would frame it in such a way that you would notice that this is not the real genealogy of the husband. If you look at the Greek of Luke, he doesn't use the word son of, son of, son of. It says from in Greek. So if you look at Luke's genealogy, which is Mary's, it goes from Heli, and the Talmud refers to Mary, by the way, incidentally. The Jewish Talmud refers to Mary the mother of Jesus, and they denigrate her in the Talmud. She's denigrated as an adulteress, an unfaithful wife, and so forth. It calls her the daughter of Heli. And it actually says that she was descended from princes and royalty, but she lost her way. She became an ordinary kind of woman. Well, anyway, if you follow the genealogy, you'll notice it goes back to David, but it doesn't go through Jeconiah, and it doesn't go through Solomon. It goes through Nathan. There's another son of David that he had, Nathan. And because Mary's genealogy goes back to David, it makes Mary a descendant of David. And therefore, her son, following what Brother Sam said about 1 Chronicles 2, her son would be deemed to be truly in the flesh a Davidic king. That is, he is truly the son of David. And therefore, folks, the reason why the genealogies are different is not because some Muslim apologists say it's because there's a contradiction, they made it all up. No, it's because Mary's genealogy is found in Luke 3. It's not Joseph's. And if you follow it, it goes right back to David, and Luke takes it even farther, right back to Adam, to show us that the Messiah comes to save not just the Jews, which is Matthew's theme, Messiah to the Jews, but the idea in Luke is he comes as a redeemer for all peoples. His birth will bring joy to all peoples everywhere. And so Mary was indeed a descendant of David, not through Solomon, but through Nathan, but nevertheless a descendant of the king.
About the inconsistency of the Jewish objection. Today, Jews will tell you that if your mother's Jewish, you're considered Jewish. But if your father's Jewish and your mother's a Gentile, then you're a Gentile. You see the contradiction?
Yeah.
In one breath, they want to say Jesus can only be the son of David if he's from David's line through his paternal father, which he doesn't have. But today they'll tell you, if your dad is a Jew, but your mother's a Gentile, you're not Jewish. Your mother has to be Jewish. Why the inconsistency? But go ahead.